for me, I've had a positive coming out experience. They were all kind of thing, but it did take time. I know it affected my dad the most because he's taken up until recently to like really be 100% comfortable with talking to me about my relationship life and that kind of stuff. Friends have always been supportive, but it's kind of like, for example, I'm an aerospace major, so it's kind of not awkward, but I have to work harder, really put my best foot forward because I'm in the masculine industry and I'm not necessarily that masculine. So, I'm surrounded by like really, you know, masculine people.
Mm-hmm.
So it affects me, in my industry.
Wow. Different.
Mhm.
Um, how um how does Christianity influence sexuality? Either you can answer from a personal perspective or from a general perspective on how you think it affects it.
Um, Depends where you're coming from. Like me, I mean, the way I was taught is that, God loves you no matter who you love and, that kind of thing. And I think really Christianity is about, loving everybody and not judging them. But, we do have that minority that judges people from gay or part of the LGBT community.
Mm-hmm.
So we have that like small, group of people that tend to be louder than, the majority of the Christian community, which is accepting. Like if you look
Right.
through like in our Constitution, the ELC Lutheran Constitution, it says, no matter whom you love, we're not going to judge you. We accept you. We do gay weddings, all that kind of stuff. So, I mean, most of Christianity is, I think, actually intended to be accepting,
Mm-hmm.
of people in the community, but there's just that small, group of people that are loud.
How did you discover um, your own sexuality as a Christian, and or just like the topic of sexuality?
Well, my mom talked to me about sex when I was really little,
Mm-hmm.
like 7.
Mm-hmm.
And I think she said because I come home from school one day and I mentioned something about, I forgot what I mentioned, but I think it kind of was like she realized that she needed to talk to me about it.
Mm-hmm.
And it might have been something that I saw at school um, or something like that. Um, and so she kind of drew. It had, to be real, it had nothing to do with God. It had nothing to do with Christianity. She kind of she took a poster board because I'm a visual person, and she kind of drew out for me the different outcome possibilities that could happen if I didn't have sex, if I did have sex, but maybe not that often, and then if I was just kind of loose and had it all the time with anybody.
Cool. How can sexuality impact you? How can sexuality impact your life and the lives of others?
That's good. I think it can be definitely a positive or a negative, and I've definitely had both. For like on the negative side, you can definitely, if you start not practicing safe sex and just kind of going haywire with your sexuality, you can definitely get STDs, which is especially common for gay people, because there's not that risk of pregnancy, so it's a lot harder to justify like wearing a condom. Which is interesting because I mean definitely people think about AIDS, but like I feel like the first and foremost thing about wearing a condom is like pregnancy, but with a woman.
Yeah.
And because like I mean everyone knows that, well not everyone maybe, but a lot of people, I don't know, that's neither here nor there, but yeah, and it can definitely lead to feeling, especially if you're hooking up with a lot of different people and being sexually active with many people, it can leave you feeling kind of empty and depressed. It's like you're trying to find some sustenance and like something to like fill your void, so you just kind of keep hooking up with different people hoping you can find it, and then you end up with nothing. But on the plus side, I think there's a lot of pros with being like sexual and sexuality in general. I think it's a definite confident boost when you can like feel sexy around people and also think that people are